what to expect for this week crypto market outlook, right? So we got the FOMC coming in later on. First ever for Kevin Walsh, I think together with Jerome Powell as well, happening around 2 or 2:30 in the morning, our time. But nonetheless, I think you can see where the market is heading. Okay, market is really pricing in very heavily before Kevin Walsh steps in. And then Bitcoin did a local top at around 82K. It's slowly creeping back up again. So should this see another lower high before we see another lows again? Okay. All right. Then of course, is this the dip that everyone is looking for? Okay. Is this the next dip that we are looking for, right? So Bitcoin dip buyers waiting for lower prices. So is the 70K the next stop? That's the big question. Okay, so if the price were to continue to go down again, I think this is going to create another domino effect. Okay, and it's going to have probably one more loose rather than settling around the 68 or 70K. So sell pressure has increased in the derivatives market, and the daily bid-ask ratio fell to about -3, 0.03. They're showing sellers are more aggressive than buyers, which is currently true in the moment. Buyers are exhausted. Okay, all right. So yeah, bears are stepping back in again. And if you look at the S&P 500, okay, it's already at the all-time high, and it's now, you can see it's creating a reversal candle at the moment. Now we can see the buyer cluster is somewhere around 68K. Okay, so if you look at this indicator called VRVP, also known as Visible Range Volume Profile. Okay, so showing that the range is somewhere around 68 to 70K region. That is the most densely traded zone on the chart since last year. So if you look at the chart here, right? Okay, now this is the level here. Look at all these long yellow bars here. So these are the levels most likely are highly favorable for a buy from the buyers. Okay, this level and this one, 76 and 68. Okay, so let's see. Liquidation data adds another pressure point. Then heat map show more than 3.4 billion accumulative long position exposed, right? Most likely to get liquidated. That. Okay, and then Bitcoin retail longs are crowded. So again, I think a lot of people are entering the peak again. Okay, so yeah, look here. Bitcoin retail traders are again getting heavily bullish as its true retail accounts long percentage metric climb above 60%. Again, so indicator tracks the share of retail future accounts holding the long position. Okay, so yeah, I think we can see what's really happening now. I think there are people who are again on high leverage. Okay, right? People are taking another risk to actually long. Okay, so here we look. Okay, previous spikes in the platform's extreme long. Okay, with short-term local tops during the rally somewhere around 78K early May. So price momentum later cooled after retail position came to trouble. Yeah, so this is the problem. Every time when you see this kind of thing happens, retail usually steps in and boosts buy or long at the top. 78 to 82. Okay, so now we are already back down and slowly climbing back up again. Okay, so I'm going to see what is the market sentiment or the behavior is going to take on later on by 2 a.m. Okay, that would be very, very crucial if you ask me. Because I think overall, if you look at it, okay, I think this could be another lower high or another push towards the downside once the stocks continue to have another major correction. And moving on next, okay, you can see here, so you can see Citibank wants about quantum risk. Okay, so quantum risk again is not an ordinary fight or even a fight to talk about or to walk away, because I think this is a big deal, quite serious. Look at other companies like Ripple, Cardano have already worked hand in hand to counter against the quantum computing. Okay, and if you look here, right, the Citigroup researchers. Okay, so Bitcoin may face greater long-term risks from quantum computing than Ethereum. Why? Because of slower governance structure, difficulties implementing major protocol changes. Right? So you know that Bitcoin is proof of work. Right? So you need miners to validate. We need miners to validate. That's where quantum computing can hack in between that period. It's also quite dangerous, if you ask me. Okay, so right, talking about quantum computing, shortening the timeline for practical attacks on blockchain. Okay, encryption systems, with some estimates now facing potential threats between 2013 to 2022. So about 6 months, 6 years now, right? 4 to 6 years. Okay, so we have very limited time to actually counter. So they have to really step up. So for those companies, L2s, layer 2, layer 1, okay, like Hyperliquid is totally exposed. And until now, they haven't done anything about it, right? So yeah, we really consider. Okay, all right. So we can see Citibank argued Bitcoin's biggest weakness may not be technical, but organizational. Okay, keyword here is what? Organizational. So transitioning Bitcoin toward quantum-resistant cryptography likely require broad community consensus, extensive testing, and a potential hard fork process historically difficult within Bitcoin's conservative governance. Okay, so yeah, I already told you because this is a proof of work. It's not proof of stake. If you compare to proof of stake, stakers are validators, you can check, be able to rectify, right? So if you compare to Ethereum, okay, several proof of stake blockchains were described as more adaptable because of their history of frequent network upgrades and more flexible governance system. Keyword, there you go. Flexible governance system. Okay, compared to Bitcoin, which is conservative governance model. There's a difference between proof of work versus proof of stake. Okay, all right. So Ethereum have a huge upper hand in terms of quantum computing threat. Okay, right. So the risk maybe might be lower. Okay, but again for Bitcoin, right, the only thing to take note is this dormant wallets. Okay, right, major concern involving dormant Bitcoin wallets. So if you're not transact anything in that wallet, that's where it leaves for exposure on quantum computing. Wallets are totally dormant for more than, I don't know, 10, 20 years, never touch at all. It means you just thought but you never move. That's the big issue. So maybe you might want to move out, move to another address. Okay, and probably they'll store in whatever hot wallet, cold wallet, right? Your hardware wallet. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing about this. And then of course you can see here that includes approximately 1 million Bitcoin widely believed to belong to Satoshi. Then dormant holdings are currently valued at ETB, which is hell a lot. Okay, hell a lot, right? Especially when we move out. So you're gonna see during these 6 years, will Satoshi's wallet move or not? Or totally dormant, or the content community takes over. That would be another big question. And then moving on next. Okay, so moving on next, talk about Solana. Where is Solana future is heading, right? And what is it going to happen in the next bull run? For now, everything is seems to be down. Not only Solana, but other apps as well. Everything is down, except for few like Hyperliquid. But if you look at Solana, futures funding rate turns negative. Why? It's because Solana is heavily reliant on retail rather than the institution. Because people come into Solana for what? New coins. You want to strike, right? You want to hit, right? Fly by night. I mean, so now there's no retail interest. This is already expected. Funding rate turns negative. Okay, lack of interest coming in. Okay, for Solana, right? And then I think most likely all this whatever perpetual trading, I think everything will be negative as well because retail is not here. Lack of interest. Okay, so yeah, I think it's possible to continue to 78. Okay, then Solana faced a 15% correction, right? Following a rejection at 98 on May 11 May. There's somewhere around 83. So again, like I said, these are all short-term rallies, short-term liquid rally. Okay, you still get to find its bottom for Solana and other apps as well. Okay, look at that. The funding rate is at negative. That means no interest. That means you and I, if we were to go in, that means the commission or the spread is much lower, right? So that's actually a good time to actually enter for perpetual if you're leverage trading. the better the negative funding rate is, the better for traders. Because if it's positive like this, that's where it really attracts, or overheated, it's positive. So while now it's negative, this is a good time to actually enter. Okay, if you are aware of this range. So this indicator hovers near about 9%, account for the cost of capital exchange risk, right? So yeah, you can see also here the activity has declined by 56% since January. See, I already told you, Solana is heavily depending on retail, not institution, right? Your institution can just buy big chunk, but end of the day, do the institutions really trade in the debts for you? No, majority are retail or OGs, people who are in this space since how many cycles, 2, 3 cycles, right? So they know the game. But institutions, they rather buy on spot and hold. They don't do all this degen, right? Whatever staking, because the risk is higher. Okay, so already expected, right? So declining activity on Solana, DEX itself, has reduced ecosystem revenue in 1 or so. Then this reduced appetite for decentralized apps was not exclusive to Solana, but growing competition poses a major threat. Okay, so bear market, this is the thing. Right now, not only Solana, I believe other ecosystem as well. But if you look at Solana taking a huge hit on their lack of activity and of course retail interest really hurting their market share. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, and if you compare to the bull market, you can see the on-chain activity hits really all-time high or gets too overheated on DEX or even the leverage perpetual DEX exchange. All right, so it is what it is, and this is the bear market. Okay, it doesn't attract anyone, much more with the tail. Okay, so it seems to be very, very low. Okay, and then next. Okay, all right, so we're going to talk about neobanks. Okay, so if you have not or not know what is neobank all about, it is something like a digital wallet, but with a digital bank inside, all in one. E-wallet with a bank. Okay, at your own convenience. Okay, so if you hold cards like Red.Pay, hold cards like Cash App or CAS, these are the examples of neobank. Okay, all right. So digital asset neobanking has moved beyond basic crypto access. So the category now covers firms combining bank account style services, such as what? Checking, direct deposit, debit savings, and banking partnership. And then the best part of it is that they integrate with crypto products built in the primary financial app. So this is the thing that is going on right now. Okay. So you've been missing out on all those latest things. So this is the one in crypto now. Neobanks. Everything is in one app under your wallet. Okay. So I think you still have to do KYC for this thing because yeah, everything is needed for your data, right? To sign for the card, get the bank account. Okay. It's something like an online bank account, the digital bank. Okay, where they give you a number, the account number, then you can use it, not mistaken. And then the best part is they give you the card. So it's something similar like Red.P. CAS is one of them as well, right? I think the interest on exchange fee is quite costly as well. Right? So you can use this in Malaysia as well. Cash App, I think, is quite universal, but mostly used in the USA. Okay, then we have other firms like BunQ, okay, the Mercado. There are many this type of new banks that you can be able to list. Okay, so a lot, right? You can see offers 300 plus cryptocurrencies inside a licensed bank environment. Okay, so again, like all these banks are all centralized. That's the only downside. But the convenience is there, right? It's like a crypto-friendly bank, right? So when you want to deposit, you feel safe because they already know what is it all about crypto. Okay, okay. So you can see all the benefits here. They give you a Bitkey self-custody wallet plus Cash App card. See that? Okay, right? So yeah, a lot of benefits if you looking into it, right? If you want to expand, if you want to channel your funds instead of putting into one country, you can divert. Okay, and keep it there, right? So this is also one way you can be able to prevent from being taxed, okay, unnecessary. So that's how you to do it, okay? So there are a lot of this type of digital assets new bank, okay? So if you are overseas, you can be able to probably sign up, right? It could be an advantage for you when you travel to other countries as well. Okay, so this is the thing. Hope you guys can be able to learn something from this start one. And then moving on next with more of the on-chain and the sentiment of the market. So we can see here, what is the bear market? How does the bear market actually track people? Then also very important, who you follow on Twitter or any social media account. Okay, you are who you follow. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, talking about bear market. So we look here, right? First bear market drop. Okay, the A, no major lower yet. Where's this here, isn't it? Where's A? Here. Similar. A is here, right? First bear market drop, no major lower low yet. And then B, what happened? Small relief rally, which is here. The lower high compared to the previous one. And then what happened? C comes down, create a lower low. First real lower low arrives. Structure officially breaks. This is the thing. And then what happened? But major supports below still holds. Red line. Where's the red line? Here. This is the red line. Okay. And then comes D. Another creating a lower high. Then comes the relief rally. This is the one. Strong enough to reclaim the 200-day SME. Strong enough to make people believe the pains. See? Then this rally takes the actual second point of the bear market trend line, which is the orange line. So people went in here, buying at this top, the local top, as of now, right? And then what happened? Coming back down again. So E, then comes calculation, major support breaks, which is, I believe, is most likely is forming at this moment after D, then goes to E. And then last cycle, Bitcoin bottom, near the previous major support around 15 key, which is here. So D was here, and then goes to E, right? So if structure repeat this cycle, 38K may become the final support key. Okay, so again, not financial advice, but past performance is not guaranteed future result, but it tends to rhyme somehow. Okay, for every 4-year cycle. All right, so this is the market structure now. Now we are already in this relief rally. And if you still haven't de-risked your position, still holding the odds, then you have to really rethink your position. Whether do you want to continue in this second half to buy more, to accumulate more dry powder? If yes, then you probably might want to convert it to stables rather than putting gold. Right? Rather than putting gold, I think probably you might going to lose even more than 90% of the value. Okay, so everything is down. Even Bitcoin goes all the way up here. This relief rally, the lower high, right? Right, it's going to create another lower low. So you need to be very, very careful. Okay, with this cycle at the moment. And then more news here. Colin talks crypto. Okay, look at that, the rejection. 3 rejections, right? See here. It's a bearish trend line, very flat pattern. So it rejected this yellow line, the upper channel trend line. That's the first rejection. Second rejection is where the white line here, which is 200-day moving average. And then the third rejection is where underside of trend line, which is the purple line. Okay, so purple line significance had been respected as resistance and support many times, now broken to the downside. Okay, all right, so yeah, what we can see right now is already bearish. Okay, a lot of people mentioning 38K. Let's see. Okay, everyone mentioning 38, 40. So let's see whether can it really go all the way there. Right, and then what is your moment of decision? Right, despite all this, you're going to continue to hold. Okay, for Bitcoin, maybe yes. For your alts, what are you going to do with your alts? Okay, so you have to really think. Okay, because you cannot go back and make the same mistake from the last cycle again. Okay, So all these are happening. Then another one, crypto coin. Look, right? Bear flag active since early February. It's now tied to the longest running since November 2021 at 100 days. Here. From February to May, up to now, 100 days. 2021 is where? Back here, isn't it? Right? October, November. Okay? Then it went down. So price is rejecting from the top of the flag. Then the flag typically breaks down after the second major retest at the top, which is now complete. There you go. This is the one. The local top here. This is where you catch many people. The complacency bounce. I already told you since last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks. Right? The Wall Street cheat sheet. Right? And this is where we are. The complacency bounce. Where all those perma moves mentioned. Okay? That we already break the trend line, the bearish flag pattern, and now it's going to consolidate and then continue to go up. Then what happened? The average drop after a bear flag breakdown is about 30%. It has been as low as 16% and as high as 40%. So 30% correction from the current bear flag. Okay, bottom will take Bitcoin to 50K as of this price historical performance. So from here right now, 77, right? All the way to 50K. Okay. So yeah, I think if this is going to play out, then I think May, June, July, August, most likely we should see another drop too. And then probably by Q4, things starts to bottom, hopefully consolidate, long-ranging consolidation that we can be able to accumulate. Okay, so this is the thing. All right. Then next, talk about momentum exhaustion. Look. Okay, people say the bull market is back. Look at the on-chain. Okay, so this is how momentum exhaustion looks like. What is happening right now? Already peaked, right? The reignition attempts. Okay, it was on May. Failed 2 times. Now we already back down this level here. Okay, exhausted. Okay, so momentum fails to sustain expansion. Reignition attempts fade quickly. Positive momentum loses force with every bounce. Keyword here is what? Loses force with every bounce. So every time when you bounce, the weakness is still there. It means every bounce will lead to another drop again. So this is what? Impulse collapse back into deep negative territory. This is not aggressive downside pressure yet. It is something more subtle. So what happening here? Bitcoin is losing its capacity to regenerate strong positive momentum internally. Okay. Right? So each rebound becomes weaker. Each ignition attempt carries less force. So that, where is the retail? Michael Saylor buy this, buy that. Yet you see what's happening here. Momentum exhaustion. Right? Yeah, you can see, the 5-year cycle is here. We have all the data backing up. Okay, this time is different. The 4-year cycle is dead. But from time to time again, the more the narrative change, the more it stays the same. Okay, where is the retail? That is the key. So the retail is the one that is also driving the market, that also makes the difference, push, okay, to create a kind of hype and excitement in the market. So as of now, you don't see all this. So everything is down. Okay, and then moving on next with airdrop. Right, we have this airdrop, not much, but you can go for, you can give it a claim if you are doing this trade. Okay, so if you've been doing this drop, you might want to claim. Okay, claim your citra.xyz/airdrop. And then next here is Farcaster. So Farcaster, Hypersnap. Okay, third airdrop, you start to claim. Okay, so I think all those drops are getting lesser and lesser. Okay, because due to lack of interest and participation. So during the bear market, I mentioned many times, is they are focusing more on building rather than distributing their drops on the tokens. So when comes the bull run again, I think the excitement will come. Okay, and then moving on next, with the coin market cap, you can see BTC has ran out 77.2, 77.2, Ethereum 2.1, BNB 644. Where else? Hyperliquid, $50. The only coin that is up compared to others. Any gainers? besides hyperliquid. When it's token, look at that. 21.8, cash 15%, Zcash 9%. Right. So yeah, a few gainers. Lot. Now moving on next with the technical side. So if you have any question, feel free to put in the chat box. Okay, answer it later on. Let's look here. BTC, dominance first. Look, something here. Okay, staying above the middle band. For now, monthly consolidation still above, so consider still uptrend for the dominance. And next level, look here is here 64.3. And then we're going to look into the weekly time frame. Down consolidation, pump, reversal retest candle is formed, making a consolidation support. So you usually see a reversal or a retest back this over here at 61.71, or retest back at this support. Let's see. Look at daily. What is the daily doing? Okay, momentum consolidation again. So it's waiting for another consolidation period before another breakup again. Okay, we look at the ETH against Bitcoin. That is the most concerning part. ETH is still weakening against Bitcoin. Look, still down. Have you still held your alts? You're still bleeding. I can tell you this. Okay, still bleeding. And these alts will never perform during this time. Look, next level 002, 543. Okay, next, it needs to break above here, right? 003096, but it's not doing that. It's continuing to break down. Look at weekly. You see how many candles rejected at the middle band? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weekly candles rejected. So it tells you something. It wants to go down. Then critical support also broke. 002855. So the next level is where? Here. This level here, 002511. Okay, will be the next level here. We'll settle down this level. Okay, for ETH against BTC. Let me look at BTC now. What's BTC doing? You see here. So rejected at this sell zone. It went to a high of how much? 83,000. Okay, so it needs to really breach and then continue up again to test on the middle band at 91.7. That will be the next one. Or else we should see another lows again to test this critical support. 6.7. Look at the weekly time frame. Now the weekly time frame, what's happening here? Price already broke past the middle band. Confirm this level of support for now. Okay, so a lot of things to take note. Why? Because the middle band here I can spot. This will be about 75K for now. Meanwhile, we can see this is a bearish engulfing, which is not good for setup here. So that means there could be a high chance of another retest again. Say we take about 72.8, go down, and then continuation to retest on this critical support. There will be about 65.7. Now we look at daily. What is daily doing? You can see daily already doing what? Price break below the middle band, went all the way down. Now creating a short-term support here. Okay, it's about what, 75.7. So here. 76.7. So now it's coming for a short-term pullback. Now getting rejected here at 77.8. So we're going to see, can it continue to retrace all the way back here? At the 78.6. Then the middle band will be about what, 79.2. Somewhere below 80K. So a long climb back up again to reclaim. Not, I think will be another drop from where I see right now. Now I hit short, what's happening? Price now closing above. So there could be a sign where it could be a short-term bullish. Then it will continue to retest in the top here at 78.2. That is for now. But overall, it's looking quite bearish. Look at ETH. ETH. Similar, right? And it's looking quite bearish compared to BTC. Why? See here. Critical support, 1.8. And if we look at this setup here, you see 1, 2, and 3. This is the third monthly candle getting rejected at the sell zone. Still cannot break past. You see that? And it's creating a reversal now. Break candle now is forming. So by the looks of it, most likely to be test this 1.8. and then continuation again towards the downside. So where is the next level here? 1.3 for ETH. Now on weekly is doing what? You see on weekly what's happening? How many candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weekly candles getting injected. Now we are back down again. This spot. So all these levels should be out 1.9, 1.2. Okay. So bearish. Okay. Now you look at daily momentum sell pullback, most likely short term. I'm going to give you at this level here on this sell zone at 2155. 155 and continuation up again. Should we see this level to be taking off at 2251? Okay. Other than that, it's looking quite bearish. Now we look at Hyperliquid, right? The only token that is performing right now is already 51. 1.5. Look at that. It's looking set to hit a new all-time high very soon. Let's see. So already breach here at 45.2. All-time high is how much? 59.4. Very, very fast, right? So let's see. Okay, Hyperliquid, I think there are a lot of hype in it. They're going to go public, not sticking, right, on Nasdaq. Something like that. So look at weekly now. Okay. All right. So weekly, if you can see, price already did breach the top move. So the next final boss resistance is right here, 53.6. I probably think Hyperliquid, there will be some major resistance or challenge to breach before it continues with the order. I think probably we will find a local top for Hyperliquid rather than going up all the way. This. Okay. It's non-stop going up. There is no sign of consolidation at all. So should we see a settled price around this range? Okay. Or probably around, maybe around here, 38. Or settle down around this level here. 33, 38 level. Right? So look at daily. Already momentum buy. So everything is bullish now for Hyperliquid. Okay. And then next, look at Venice token. Okay. So Venice token, 17.66. Okay, so you can see Venice token going up, all-time high. So the last high was how much here? 17. So it went to a new high of how much? $20. So the last resistance is here, 4.23. Okay, 4.23, and then this level here, 2.59. And then leading up to this critical support, $1. Okay, so yeah, I think overall we can see this setup here. Okay, at the extreme all-time high. So we're going to see how much more can we continue to break from gold. Take this high to the moon. That will be the next bottom. $26. Next retracement is where? Here, 13.43 and 10.8. Okay, for Venice token. So everything is going parabolic. That a V-shaped recovery as well. I'm going to see whether or not this support can maintain. Okay. All right. So if not, then we're probably going to go down. That's at 14.87 for Venice token. So I think Venice token is an AI token. Okay. Then what else? We have a lot here. I think even Tron also going all-time high. So see Tron. TRX. TRX, yeah. So Tron also reaching all-time high. Okay, so this was December, August 2025, and it's now continuing again with another all-time high. So we're going to see the top EV here at 36 cents. All-time high is at what? 55 cents. Right? Okay, and then your current support will be about here at 28 cents. Look at the weekly time frame. Okay, so the weekly time frame also you can see a nice W pattern, momentum, and then here, 36. 36 cents is the current resistance or the final boss resistance. So it should continue or should get rejected, and then we see another pullback first. Okay, so pullback will probably lead you about here in 3. Okay, look at daily. So what is the daily doing? All the way up, momentum. Okay, we squeeze on daily. And weekly, it could be a sell to buy solution. So let's see. So we test at 36 and then get rejected at 33. So that's my case here for TRX. Everything is going up. Okay, so you have Tron, we have Hyperliquid, all hitting all-time highs, even Venice token. Then who's next? Right. So let's go for XMR. All Nero. So open the Monero. The all-time high is at $800. Now it's at 396. So all these privacy coins, they continue to rally it. Current resistance 422. The next one at 467. Then we're gonna look into the support, right? This could be the support here, 334. Look at weekly. Let's see weekly. What's the weekly doing? Okay, price break above the middle band, maintaining this level of support. So we're gonna see whether can it continue or will it break this level here, 317. Or right? Okay, so you can see already break below the middle band, candlestick change of direction, the entry sell. So it's creating a lower high on the side. So it's a very setup here for XMR. Okay. All right, so that's XMR for you. Then we're gonna go for Kite. Kite also went up. So this was the gold Kite, right? Also dealing with AI as well. This was the previous airdrop. So it seems like it's slowly starting to climb back up again, 23 cents. Our next level is here, 25. Okay, 25, and your current support is here, 14 cents. And then leading up to this level here, 10 cents, 10 cents, 14 cents, right? Support. Final boss is 25 cents. Look at weekly. Extreme sell, candlestick change of direction, creating lower high coming up to this high. So what to take into right now? Will it continue to rally all the way up to this final boss resistance? Or will it continue to retrace first on 17 cents for Kite? So other than that, everything is bearish, right? Higher highs, high lows, high highs, high lows. Yeah. Okay, for Kite. Okay. Right, so if you look on to the stock, S&P 500, you can see the S&P 500 is already sell set up. Break below the middle band, pull back for the pre-sell on H4. You can see a release happen. A lower high is forming now. For daily, also we can see. Next level is this sell zone, or heading down. Look at NASDAQ. Well, NASDAQ also similar, right? It's consolidating, with rejecting at the sell zone. Let me look at H4. Pull back short term for the entry, set to hit lower. Dow Jones, similar. H4, look at that. Rejecting at the middle band. Okay. Dailies, consolidating sideways. Okay, weekly also the same sideways. Right, so that's all I have for tonight.